Hi there guys, Stephanie Bryan here with you today. I recently have really been struggling creatively, trying to finish projects and make things work. I'm not really sure what's up. So I had started this mini album with paint and I couldn't make it work, so I decided to put together this really simple layout and thought I would use it for my next challenge on the blog, which is going to be using paint on a layout. Here I have a piece of 12 by 12 cardstock and several different sample bottles of paint. These are Valspar paint that I picked up at Lowe's. I just went through and picked out my color swatches that I wanted to use from their zillion choices and had them mix up 3 little sample bottles. So I really didn't have any real projects in mind for these. I just picked some of my current favorite colors and had these little bottles made, which are great. So I used these colors on a few pieces of chipboard for a mini album, which I still have not finished, and I can't get enough creative juices flowing to make it work. But I did love the colors, and I thought that I would try to put together a layout using a couple kind of brushes of paint on the background. So this is kind of like a minty green color. So that peach and the green are my 2 favorite colors right now, and then I also have a little bit of yellow. So as you can see, I'm just applying a few strokes right on the middle of my page. I kind of wanted this layout to be, or the background to be centered, and then I'm thinking I'm going to put my picture either on the right hand side or maybe on the left hand side. So here is kind of that creamy yellow color. And I'm just using the same brush and taking a piece of paper towel and just wiping off any excess paint. I don't really care if I have a little bit of the other colors in there. I think they go together so nicely that if they mixed up a little or blended together, that would be totally fine. So anyway, recently I really have been struggling. If you follow me on Instagram, you have probably seen me post all kinds of, I can't finish this project, I don't know what I'm doing, what do I do now type of messages. I really have had some issues finishing any projects creatively. And I think part of that might be because I was out of the country and traveling to Spain for a little while, which was so fun. And then back just trying to get in the swing of things. My daughter's in school and whatnot. So anyway, sidetracked. Back to the layout. My paint has dried and I'm just pulling out a few different things that I think I'm going to use, or maybe think I might want to use on my layout. So here I have some different little elements from My Mind's Eye and the Style Board Crepe Paper collection. A few die cuts. Those are from Wilna. I downloaded those from her shop. Some ruffled crepe paper, a doily, and then that's the photo I'm going to use there. And I also have my Style Board 6x6 paper pad, which has a few sheets of scrap paper that I just have left in the front that I'm thinking I might use to back my photo. So here is just some ruffled crepe paper that I made by sewing crepe paper that I bought from the paper store or the party store. Just sewed right down the middle, kind of pushing it through my sewing machine to create ruffles. And I was thinking maybe I might add my doily on top of the paint, but I feel like it might distract a little bit and cover up that paint. I really want the yellow and the green and the peaches to shine through a little bit. So I'm just looking at my paper layers. I like to keep anything that's about like that size, 3x4, maybe 2x2 or 3x3. I usually hang on to my scraps. I love adding paper layers underneath my photos. And so here I just have a little bit of paper that has some gold glitter tape on it. And I like the way the gold kind of pops with the colors. So I think I'm going to try to add that one in. And I'm just trimming down a few little paper layers to go underneath my photo. And I know I've shared this before, but my typical way of layering is to layer kind of a neutral pattern or color, a busier pattern, and then another neutral. So as you can see there, I have the wood grain on the bottom, and then the busier floral paper, and then that I love you text paper. I typically, immediately behind my photos, I typically add a neutral layer. I feel like it helps my photo pop. But then I like the busier, richer colors and layer underneath there somewhere to help draw your eye into the photo. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball these and situate that photo there. That photo is maybe 3.5 by 3.5. I'm going to take my tiny attacher and staple right in the middle, and that leaves me room to kind of curl up my edges and add a little bit more texture to my page. Keep it from looking so flat. And there I have my photo. I'm going to lay that there on the page, right there on top of those layers, and as you can see, I've kind of kept my focus following that rule of thirds more to the right hand side of my paint swatches there. These are some tiny little paper clips that I got from the craft store in the wood section where they have unfinished wood, and I'm just going to add it there to my photo. And then I like the way I tried with the doily, but I couldn't make that doily work, but I like the way the die cut allows the paint to show through, but then still adds a little bit of femininity and texture over there on that side of the page, on the left side of the page. My camera battery actually, or my memory card, was all full, so as you can see there, I've added a few little embellishments right around the left side of my photo, and I have that sweetest little thing from My Mind's Eye, the Market Street collection, that I wanted to maybe add around the photo. I like the gold, that peach color, and that minty green, I think complement gold really well. They're kind of on the warmer spectrum, and I like the way that gold plays with that warmth. And now I'm just going to try to stick in a few little, few more embellishments, make a little cluster there. I'm layering them just on the page right now, but I have not adhered anything down. So I'm just trying out and going back and forth to my little stash and see if I can make anything work out there on that side. And I'm just going to remove everything and start adhering everything down on my page. I like to kind of set everything up and eyeball it and make sure I'm pretty happy with the way it looks before I start sticking everything down. Sometimes I'll even snap a photo or stand back and look through my camera. Sometimes I feel like I see things, get a different perspective if I'm looking at it through a photo or through my phone or something. So I'm going to staple that ruffled crepe paper to the bottom of my photo so it stays there without slipping down. And I added my photo using foam dots, pop dots. I like to give a little bit of shadow underneath the photo, and those pop dots do that. I've typed my journaling on a few little labels from Studio Calico, and I'm just going to slide them underneath my photo, maybe on top of it, and staple them into place so I don't have to worry about them slipping out. And I am going to go back and hot glue everything into place. I'll probably add a little dab of hot glue in there since the staple's kind of on the bottom half so it won't slip out. Just simple little words about the picture. This picture is my son and daughter's legs and feet. They were just laying on the bed, giggling and being silly. And we were all enjoying those lazy days of summer. So I'm just going to add a couple little notes there. And here I have my handy dandy pink hot glue gun. And I'm just going to start adding everything back in to where it was roughly on the page. simple little layouts like that, or simple little embellishments like that can just help draw your eye to parts of the picture and the journaling. I've tried to complement the colors. The paint colors have that flower that has colors, the little bit of the orange and then the green and the yellow, not the exact same colors, but have tried to just add in a couple little additions of those colors to help bring out the background paint colors. And I've also added in a vellum, gold dot vellum heart to help draw your eye to the little line of gold underneath the photo right there. And now I'm just going to speed up the video a little bit and show you how incredibly indecisive I am when it comes to placement of titles. I really wanted to add Lazy Day down there in the lower left hand corner. And I love these gold Dear Lizzy alpha thickers that I've had forever. I don't even know how many packs I have, but I don't have a full alphabet, and I didn't have any Y's, so I had to try to trim down two small or two lowercase X's to try to create a little baby Y there, and it just looks kind of awkward and weird. Although from this perspective, I kind of liked it in that lower left-hand corner. So I'm just trying it a couple different ways, seeing if I can make it work, and I'm trying one last ditch effort to add in a title. I really wanted that to work. I'm just not good with thickers. I don't know why. I've never been good with adding titles, but I always love layouts that have thickers and titles on them, but it's usually the last thing I think of when I'm creating a page. So there, for the most part, is my finished layout. I'm going to suck it up and add a 2 for my 2 children because I can't get my title to work on there, and I wanted a little bit of gold. And as I was standing back looking at the finished layout, I felt like there was just a lot of white space around the painted area. I love the painted area and the look of the paint, but I felt like maybe I should add a couple of paint splatters, and I wasn't really sure how this would work, and it didn't work out too great, but it got the gist of it and added a little bit more character around the top and bottom corners. So here I just unscrewed my sample little jar of paint, and I got a cup of water and got my dipped my paintbrush in the paint sample and then dipped it in the water, and then I'm just tapping the wet paintbrush onto my page like I would if I had mist or watercolors or something like that. The paint, since this is wall paint, it's definitely thicker than just diluted or watered down paint or watercolors, obviously. So it didn't really come off the brush like I had hoped, but it did add a couple little splatters here and there. This is that peach color, and I actually added just a little more water this time. As you can see, I covered up since my photo and everything was adhered down, wasn't really concerned if it got any of the embellishments or die cut a little bit of paint, but I was trying to keep my photo from getting paint. And then I wanted some bigger paint blobs, and I wasn't really getting them. They weren't really falling off the brush, so I'm just going to makeshift a few little blobs and add just a couple more splatters there. And I like the way that looks. I like it's a little bit messier and has that paint feel that I was going for, not so neat and perfect. So here's a look at my finished page, and my challenge to you this month is to use paint on your page somewhere, to get creative and get messy. Pull out the paint, wall paint, acrylic paint, whatever you have, and play around. Can't wait to see what you create, guys. Thanks so much for joining me today. Let me know if you have any questions.